Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Welcome to the show, y'all. Check this out, y'all. This story is about this young dude, right? He was raised by his father. His mother wasn't in his life in any way, shape, or form after he was like 3 or 4 years old, from what he tells me, right? But he was raised by his father, but his father was a street dude, you know what I'm saying, in and out of prison. And when his father would be in prison, he would be staying with his grandparents and stuff like that, right? But he was real close to his father. You know, they took him to see, his grandparents took him to see his father, you know what I'm saying, as much as they could whenever he was locked up. But now the tables have turned or switched up a little bit, I'm going to say. The young dude, he's in prison now. He got a 10-year sentence for selling drugs, right? And his father is on the streets. And while his father's on the street, his father gets out of prison. He's in his late 50s, right? So he's pretty much at that age where he's aged out of crime and not really able to do too much of anything to really sustain a criminal lifestyle, so to speak. Let me put it that way, right? So, his father falls on hard times. When you've been living the criminal lifestyle all your life like he has, you don't have any benefits coming because you've never really had a job. You've been in and out of prison, so you haven't contributed anything in, so you're not going to be able to get anything out as far as Social Security. And then he's still almost, I say, like 8 or 10 years away from being able to apply for Social Security. The game has ran out on him. All the women that he used to try to talk to while he was incarcerated and the little times that he was out, they moved on with their lives. They're really not interested in having somebody in their life that can't bring nothing to the table other than being out all night trying to sell a few pills here and there and whatever, right? So he's really in between a rock and a hard place because he doesn't really want to do anything that can put him in too much jeopardy to go back if he does go back. If he does get caught doing the little small things that he does, he's hoping that he wouldn't get done but a few years and maybe be able to do it at the county jail. The problem with all of this is that the father is a very selfish and manipulative person. He loves his son as much as he knows how to love his son. And what I mean by that, a lot of people that have been in and out of the system and a part of that lifestyle, their idea of love for the most part is quid pro quo. What can you do for me? If you can't do nothing for me, you know what I'm saying? You're not useful to me. You're not useful in my life, right? So the father, um, he recognizes the situation for what it is. His son is in prison and his son is getting a little money to take care of himself, you know what I'm saying, and his girlfriend, not to take care of his father. But his father recognizes the situation for what it is and he sees an opportunity for himself. You know what I'm saying? He says to himself that this could help him and his son, but it's really about him. And that's what this is about. I want to talk to you about this because this young guy was giving me the rundown on this story, and it's an amazing thing, right? But I want you to, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you the story, and I want you to, decide on your own, you know what I'm saying, what kind of dude, what kind of father he is, what kind of son he is, and what kind of situation, you know what I'm saying? What would you do if you found yourself in a situation like this, right? So here's what happened, right? The the son's girlfriend, she's not putting in any work at all. You know what I'm saying, for the son, and that's because the son wants it that way. He doesn't want her bringing anything to him because if she gets caught, then the love of his life, the person that's holding him down, is going to be in trouble, and there's nothing that he can do to help her in any way, shape, or form or fashion, right? So he doesn't want her to do anything, but the father is looking at it like, look, if she were doing some things, then things would be a little bit better for him. You understand what I'm saying? The son is living off the land like a lot of people in the penitentiary do. And living off the land means whatever comes into the prison already, you abide while it's here. You're not going to go through the processes of getting it in and then taking care of your business like that. If somebody else gets it in, you abide a little bit from them. That's how the prison economy works. You know what I'm saying? Most people live off the land. Most people don't want to go through those situations. They don't even have a way to do that for the most part, having somebody bring it in and all that. It takes a lot of coordination. It takes a lot of risk. And, a lot of people just are not built like that. They don't want to go through that. So this young man lives off the land like a lot of people in the penitentiary. And in any case, the father is saying, look, to himself. He's not having this conversation with his son yet. He's saying if she were taking things to him, then things would be better for him. He's trying to rationalize to himself what he's about to do. So when he goes to see his son in prison, he tells him how hard things are for him out there. And then his son sympathizes with him and he said, look, I get it, Pops. You know what I'm saying? You've been living in the streets for all your life and all this and that. And now it's like you're finding it hard to find your footing and ain't nobody out there trying to really help him and all of this. So the son understands where he's coming from. But there's not really much that the son can do for him. He's in prison. And the money that he's making off the land is not like thousands and thousands of dollars. He'll make $300-400 a week. That covers his expenses in the penitentiary so he can live, you know what I'm saying, penitentiary rich. You know, penitentiary rich is just somebody that lives, don't rely on child hall food and the little money that you get paid from the state. You got a little extra coming in where your house, your cell is always full. You don't have to worry about hygiene. Your chef is straight. Everything is good. You're not having any financial troubles because in the penitentiary, you don't need a lot of money to live comfortably. You feel me? You just don't. A couple of $100 a month will get you there. Now, when you're getting way more than that, you doing your thing. But a couple of $100 a month in the penitentiary, if you're not gambling or getting high, goes a long, long way. If you're just talking about making sure that you got food to eat and hygiene on your shelf, a couple of $100 a month go a long way. You probably could get away with it for $150, $125. But the point is, the money that he was making was for him. And whatever extra over that he sent to his girl so he could help her. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people do that in the penitentiary because it's not paying, you know what I'm saying, paying for the relationship. It's just if she needs some help, you know what I'm saying, he'll give it to her, you know, because she's the one accepting his phone call. She's the one that's driving up at the scene. That costs gas. When she gets up at the scene, she got to put money on the car so he can eat. So that stuff costs. So he's trying to do what he can to offset that on her. You know what I'm saying? But the father, like I say, he's very manipulative. So he tells the son, he said, look, why don't you get her to bring something up here to you? And if she brings it up here to you, you can make more money and you can help me out, son. You can help me out. And then I won't have to be out here struggling like I'm struggling and taking these chances and coming back. I don't want to have to come back to prison and be in here with you. He really pulls on the son's heart. But the son stands fast. He stands pat. He's not going. Because if he does this, he runs the risk of losing the one person that has been there for him in the way that his girl has. He wants somebody to be there for him emotionally. And then let me explain that to you. Now, when you have somebody in your life that has been in and out of prison, right? He loved his son, no question about it. He loves his son, no question about that. But when you have that distance between you, it's hard to build that bond when you're not close to him. You can develop it, and it's over the phone and visits and things like that. But those times when your child is crying at night and need their parent, you can't be there. When they're at their first football games or basketball games and things are not going their way, you know what I'm saying, and they need somebody to reassure them, you're not there. You miss all of those types of moments. And when you miss those types of moments, that does something to that potential bond that you would have with your child. That trust that develops between a child and a parent. It's hard to develop that through visits, through phone calls. You understand what I'm saying? And I can attest to that because I remember going through that with my sons. You feel me? My sons love me. See, my oldest son got to spend time with me before I got locked up. My youngest son, Boo, y'all know Boo. Me and Boo, we didn't get developed that type of bond because Boo was a baby when I left. I say a baby when I left. You know what I mean? And our relationship got developed over time, over the phone and through visits. And I love him. I love my son. But we didn't get to the place that we are today until, and this is so sad and unfortunate, but until he got locked up and we were around each other. Yes, he had the same mannerisms and behaviors that I had, but it wasn't until we were around each other and he lived in the same cell with me that we developed that closeness, that trust that parents develop normally. It's sad, but I am grateful for it. Not in the sense that I'm grateful that he came to prison. Don't get it twisted, y'all. But the bond that we have today, it was nurtured when we were together. And that's what the people that I'm talking about in this story, that's what they missed, right? So the son is telling the pops, I get it, but what do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. I don't want to do that. So the father, he relies on his street sense. He gets manipulative. And when he gets back out there on the town, you know what I'm saying, after he leaves visit, he goes to girl. And he starts to manipulate her mind, right? Talking to her about things, you know, how he's struggling and he needs a little help. He's trying to play on her, you know what I'm saying, heart for his son. And it starts to work, but she's like, if anything I can do for you, let me know. All he wanted to do was to get that door open, and he got it open when she said that to him. And what that led to was later on, he jumped down on her. He's like, look, this is what I need you to do, but I don't want you to tell my son. And she was like, we don't keep secrets. Well, he says back to her, well, this is for his benefit as well as mine. You see? But then he goes even further because he said, look, I talked to him and he don't want to do it because he loves you, but he also don't want to ask you that because he thinks that you'll leave him. And then that's when the father hits her back and says, look, when you got somebody in prison and you holding them down, you don't understand what that's like. You need to do whatever you can to make their life on the inside better. And this will make my son's life better. Now, he's not telling her how it's going to make his life better. He's talking about his son. And he's manipulating the love that she has for him. And she still resists. But don't get it twisted. His father's a very, very manipulative person. Very manipulative. So what he does is he starts to do what people in the penitentiary do. Well, I'm going to just say this, what people in the criminal world do. He said, I'm a blackmailer. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to blackmail her. I'm going to put her in a position. She's going to do what I want her to do, or I'm going to mess up this relationship. That's what he is. So now he starts to follow her around. He's seeing who she's hanging with, what she's got going on. And he sees that she's got this group of friends. And with these group of friends, you know what I'm saying, they have parties. Young people do that. Young adults do that. They have parties just because her man's in the penitentiary. She's loyal to him. She ain't messing around. It don't mean that she shouldn't have a life. So she goes out and she's having a party, but then Pops is taking pictures. He's taking pictures, and you get pictures taken out of context. Look here, it'll create a whole story. You know how they say pictures worth 1,000 words? Let a picture be explained in the improper context, and it'll mess up something. So Pops gets a picture of her talking to a dude. Right? Now, this dude happens to just be somebody that was trying to push up on her. Right? Not somebody that she was interested in, but Pop, what it looks like. You see what I'm saying? So now, here go Pops with these pictures of her talking to this dude on several occasions, right? But it really wasn't on several occasions. It's just several different pictures. You see what I'm saying? It's several different pictures. But when he goes to her, he shows her these pictures, and he said, I'm going to tell my son, and I'm going to show my son these pictures. You've been messing with this dude. And then on top of that, I'm going to tell him that you've been going to the hotel with him. You've been doing all these things with him. And she gets spooked because she's looking at it like, wait a minute, all of this is a lie. But the thing about it is she don't know how he's going to take it with these pictures, because a visual is something that you can't talk around. Because the next thing will be, what you doing with him? Why were you talking to him? Because a lot of people in prison are insecure. Even though we know and we feel that everything is fine, we want everything to be okay, we get insecure. And when any little bump in the road happens, so now she's worried about that because she loves him. She don't want to lose him. But he said, don't worry about this. All of this will go away. I just want you to take one pack in there to him. Just one. Just one. We're going to surprise him. And I want you to tell him you did it, not me. Don't tell him nothing about me. This is what he's telling her. So she's upset. She's angry. Because she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't understand why he's doing this. But her heart is getting cold. Cold. She's turning against him. And now she's starting to think about his son. Because it's like, how they say the apple don't fall far from the tree. Now she's starting to think, is he like this? Is this what I got to look forward to? Is this the type of family that I want to be associated with? You understand? So she goes for it. She goes for the 52 fake out and she takes the pack up in there and gives it to her boyfriend. He's not prepared to take it back, but he finds somebody in the VG to take it back. But he said, look, what are you doing? I don't want you doing this. Don't be doing this. And she wants to tell him what's really going on, but she's afraid of how his father's going to twist it because she knows that he's close to his father. And she's not sure if he'll believe her or his father. She didn't trust how strong their relationship was. She didn't trust it. So she went forward. She went forward. Now here's what happened though. This is how things turn. The second time she took a pack in, y'all, she got popped. And when she got popped, they take her in the back. That's what they do. They take you in the back when you get popped with that pack. Now she got an ounce of weed. It's not going to be a lot, but she going to end up with probation. She's not coming to visit him no more, ever, as long as he's in the penitentiary. You feel what I'm saying? Never. You feel me? So she's lost already on that, but she don't know it yet. But she's trying to salvage her relationship. She's trying to salvage her visit. So she cooperates and she tells him he had nothing to do with it. My boyfriend, excuse me. My boyfriend had nothing to do with this. Nothing. It was his father that put me up to this. He tried to make me feel like he was going to blackmail me. And she told him everything, crying and everything. Then they called her mama. Her mama come and get her. And then they turn all that over to the DA. They turn all that over to the DA. And then the DA comes down and he pulls her in and he talks to her. Now her mom is involved now. The DA talks to her and her mom, and the DA said, I need you to wear a wire. They're not really trying to get her, but she gonna get some probation. They don't, look, these DAs ain't letting nobody walk away. She gonna get some probation, but they said, I need you to wear a wire. I want you to wear a wire, and I want you to get him on tape saying what you just told me in some way, shape, or form, and we're gonna get him. Now you gotta keep in mind, she's upset now. She's in survival mode. So she wears the wire, she gets the father on tape saying exactly what she told the police. You feel what I'm saying? And he's trying to tell her everything gonna be okay. It ain't nothing but an old ounce of weed. They're not gonna do nothing to you. And then she's trying to tell him, I ain't gonna be able to go see my man no more. You don't care nothing about that. And he said, look, this is what it is. So when he's getting ready to leave, they bump down on him, put the handcuffs on him, they arrest him. You know what I'm saying? For introduction and all the other little charges that come along with that kind of stuff, right? So at the end of the day, now she's talking to her man on the phone. She's talking to her man on the phone. Now, she don't know she's going to get the probation yet. The DA's planning, he wants everybody. He wants everybody. He's trying to knock everybody. Because even though she said her boyfriend didn't know nothing about it, the DA them ain't believing it. You got to remember, the law enforcement side, they look at things a whole different way. Y'all took advantage of this gal. So now he's trying to get a clean sweep with this, right? Because he don't want the son back out no sooner than he has to be. But at the end of the day, his son is the dad's son is the one that benefited from the first pack, and the DA wants that, and the warden does too. So they bump down on the son. And now check this out. This is the flip in the game. This is the twist in the game. This shows how much he loved this girl. And I know a lot of y'all might disagree with what I'm about to say, but this is what happened. And I give him all the props in the world. When the DA and the police bumped down on him and they told him exactly what happened, they let him listen to the tape. They told him, said, look, we'll give her probation if you plead guilty to introduction, violating state law. And we'll run it concurrent with what you have. So you won't have any more time. You'll just have another conviction because we're not going to tolerate anybody bringing drugs into no penitentiary. And you know what he did? So that she would get probation. He took that. He took that. Now, the DA manipulating on all sides, right? Because more than likely, she was going to end up with probation. You feel what I'm saying? But the DA and them trying to send a message. So now the father and the son hit. Now, the father don't get too many years, so he ended up doing his time in the county jail and not going to prison. But the son ended up getting some time I think he got 4 years ran in with that 10 he was already doing. You know what I mean? So he didn't get any more time. He just had another conviction. And when he went up for parole, he got knocked up one time and then they let him out the next time, right? But this is what happened. Let me back up. Before he got out, he's trying to talk to her on the phone. This is that. She's done. She said, I don't want somebody in my life like that. I don't want to be associated with a family like that. So she broke up with him. The relationship is over. They're done. She didn't want anything to do with him anymore, even though he took that charge for her. And he understood. He respected it and he understood. Because he knew how much she loved him. But what he hoped for, when they were talking, the last conversation that they had, he said, you should have trusted me. You should have trusted me and told me what my pops was doing. And she didn't do it. She didn't do it. So sometimes, y'all, you got to go out there, you got to step out on faith. And even though it might be an uncomfortable situation, trust the person that you're dealing with. If you can't trust the person that you're dealing with, it might be some things about what's going on that you're not being honest with. You know what I'm saying? You might not really trust that person. You might not really understand that person. Because if you know that person, or you think you know that person like you think like a couple should know each other, then don't hold nothing back. Tell them. Tell them what's going on and trust that the love that you have in the relationship is going to be strong enough to deal with whatever y'all got going on, right? That's just what it is. That's just what it is. I love this story. When he told me about it, I was just blown away by it, right? And I had to share it. But I hope you like it too. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.